Welcome to the Alternate Corner, or welcome back to those that have been and watched the videos or live streams before, or just pure welcome to those that have just found the channel. Favour before we go any further, because I always forget, please subscribe, please like the video, and press that notification bell if you could as well. We're very grateful. So this case is about a murder, the murder of Sarah Everard. This case, or this murder, happened in England. So one of my last videos was one in Wales, then I did one for America, and this one brings us back to the UK again. This case happened in March 2021. Some of you might have heard of it, some of you might not have, but I wanted to cover it. Sarah Everard, she was born in near south of England, in Surrey, in 1987. But then at one point or another, she moved up to north of England to York to live. Lovely place, York, as well. And then she went on to attend Durham University, again, another lovely university. And that again is in the north of England. So basically, she's born in the south and moved up to the north of England. From there, she then moved back down to Brixton Hill area in London. And I'm not a huge fan of London because it's so big. But the young whippersnappers, most of them, veer towards the cities. I did myself. I've lived in Dublin, in Glasgow, in Cardiff, and she decided to move to London, which is quite usual. And she got a job as a market executive for a digital media agency down there. So that's just a little snippet of Sarah and who she is. We'll now go into a bit more depth about what happened.
On the 3rd of March at 9 p.m, Miss Everard leaves her friend's house on Leithwaite Road, Clapham. At 9:13 p.m, she calls her boyfriend for around 14 minutes. At 9:15, Miss Everard was captured alone on CCTV at the junction of Bowood Road and the A205, the South Circular. The next sighting is 9:28 p.m, when she is on Cavendish Road, and she's still alone.
I think it's important to remember as well that during this period, it was March 2021, and we all remember what was in March 2021, the Rona. So there was a lot of regulations in place. And in the UK, you weren't allowed in certain people's houses. You're supposed to be inside a lot. You were only allowed out to exercise and stuff like that. So there are regulations in place, and at times it's quite confusing what those regulations were. Did everyone partake in all the regulations? Maybe not, but most people are quite clever, careful. The streets themselves, they were quite empty because people felt safer walking. Because in this area especially, there's plenty of housing, there's plenty of lighting, there's plenty of shops around. So she would have felt very safe out there. So it would take a lot for her to stop or, to talk to somebody, especially if she's on the phone to her boyfriend for a quarter of an hour. And it's a 15-minute walk. So, yeah, she would have felt very safe this time of night.
7 minutes later, a bus camera captures Miss Everard and Wayne Couzens on Poinders Road, standing beside a white Vauxhall Astra parked on the pavement with hazard lights on. Earlier that day, Couzens had hired this car from Dover in Kent. At 9:38, another camera captures the same vehicle with the two front doors open.
So just a little bit here about Wayne Couzens. Wayne Couzens is 48 years old and he's from Deal in England, near London. Couzens was born and bred in Dover, and he had one brother, and Couzens Wayne was the oldest of them two. He spent his early years actually working for his father. His father had a garage, he was a mechanic in Dover. Dover is a place near the coast, and they were settled there for a very long time actually. So from there, he stayed until 2015, but his father decided to retire. He'd had the garage for years, decades. So Wayne was like, well, what am I going to do next? Do you want to carry on being a mechanic? So he decided to change careers. At that point, before before that point, sorry, he was in the Army Reserves, in his 3rd Battalion for the Princess of Wales Royal Regiment. He'd been there for 2 years, from 2002 to 2004. He then he went back and forward with his career, and in 2018 he joined the MetPolice. He predominantly worked based in Westminster, where the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command was, where he would protect VIPs and guard sites such as the Palace of Windsor, Downing Street, and embassies. In actual fact, on the evening that he kidnapped and murdered Sarah, he was actually on a relief shift a few miles away from where he picked up Sarah, where he was working at the American embassy. So I say all of this because the only way that Sarah would have stopped and spoken to a stranger would have been if a policeman or somebody stopped her. So what this piece of shit did, after he had guarded the American embassy, jumped in his hire car that he got, roamed the streets because he knew he was planning on doing something. He wasn't planning on kidnapping and murdering Sarah specifically, but he was planning on doing it for somebody. And when he saw Sarah, he got out and he intimidated that he was a police officer. He had all the gear on and everything like that. So Sarah, she's not to know any different. So that's the reason she would have trusted him as a police officer and stopped to speak to him and probably listen to him. I will touch upon that a little bit more now. But I thought it was important just to mention that to you because during the Rona, it was very rare that he would stop and speak to anybody.
He could have used COVID as a reason to get her into the back of the car and said, you're breaching COVID rules, and arrested her. You know, Sarah wouldn't necessarily have known every single law, and he could have made one up to get her in the back of the car.
The car is next spotted at 1 a.m. in Tilmanstone in Kent. At 8:30 a.m, Couzens returns the hire car to Dover and is spotted at a local Costa Coffee. Sarah Everard's body is found 6 days later at Hodes Wood near Ashford, Kent. Police don't know exactly where and when Couzens murdered Sarah, but they do know that for a while he stored her body here, hidden amongst this rubbish under a freezer.
You see, he just dumps her in all that trash. He puts the body in that refrigerator, inside of it, and just topples it over. Not here in the world. Absolute scumbag. Piece of shit. And he left her there for days. He knew no one would find her. He knew that she was safe there, and that meant he could plan some more because he had to get his car back to the rental. He had to do other stuff to try and hide the fact that he'd done what he'd done now. And then a couple of days later, this is what happened.
Days after this, Couzens was spotted in a B&Q store in Dover, buying 2 builder's bags, which he's believed to have used to transfer Sarah's body. Then Couzens came back and, using some kind of trolley, brought Sarah's body 250 yards or so into the woods and left her in this shallow water. On the morning of the 7th of March, Couzens took his family to the same woods where he'd dumped Sarah's body in an apparent bid to create an alibi.
Did you see that? Not only did he move her with a trolley 250 yards and throw her into shallow water as a little grave, he then has a family outing. Brings his wife and 2 children to the area to try and build an alibi. Probably with modern technology and stuff, saying, yeah, I was in the area. I was there with my wife and kids. What kind of sick person are you? Who does that? You're sick enough when you kill someone. But to put your wife? What the? Got no words for it. You've got to be like you get tapped in the head anyway because you want to murder someone. But this guy, makes my blood boil.
Wayne Couzens had been vetted by police and had no criminal record, but he had been accused of indecent exposure at a McDonald's restaurant. The police watchdog is currently reviewing how those allegations were handled.
So, you just heard he'd been vetted, but in McDonald's, he got his ding dong out. He was ding-a-ling-a-ling, showing his knob about. And yeah, he's allowed it, don't worry. We'll accept you in the police force. Jesus. Right, calm down. Right. Anyway, up until now, we're up to the 4th or 5th of March right now, where he's done all these things and he's ordered stuff for farmers and bungee cords and stuff like that. He's been shopping and everything. He's on this March 7th, he took his wife and children there on a family trip. On March 8th, he was due back in work, but he phoned in sick. He said he was stressed and he couldn't be in work. So fine, he was off that day. March the 9th, though, things are starting to get together now. And I think things are closing in a little bit on Wayne Couzens right now. The police have seen all the bus CCTV. They've got they followed the track that Sarah walked home and noticed when she went missing and stuff. They've got a lot of evidence. So now they've got to question this guy. And that happens on March 9th. Now, interestingly, March 9th, at about 7:11 p.m., Couzens wipes his phone. So I don't know if he had a tip-off, if he'd seen the police outside, what happened? Because he literally wiped it back to manufacturing mode. Because at 7:50, that's when the knock on the door came from the police. Just a little bit sus. About 39 minutes after he wipes his phone, the police come knocking. I don't know what to think about that. But anyway, the police come in. I'm going to play you now. I'm not going to cut it or anything. I'm just going to play the whole interview. I think it's about 8 to 9 minutes long. Listen to it all. See the kind of lies that he's putting out there. And let's see what you think.
So we're here to talk to you about Sarah. I'll show you a picture. Do you know Sarah?
I don't know.
Okay. Sarah went missing. I'll show you some pictures of her on the day.
Okay.
Sarah went missing on Wednesday. And her parents, obviously, and her family are really worried about her. The inquiry that's been conducted so far has led us to come and speak to you about it and to see what you know about Sarah. Okay. So, would you like to? Do you know where Sarah is?
No.
Right. Okay. Do you know anything about what happened to her?
I know that she went missing up in London somewhere. What, about a week ago or so? Just from what I've got on the news.
Okay. Have you ever personally met her?
No, not personally, man.
Have you had any interactions with her at all?
Why would I have personal interactions with her?
Well, it's very difficult because I can't go into a lot of the evidence because obviously that would require, that's not part of what an urgent interview is. Okay, this interview is just about trying to find her.
Sure.
She's been missing for a while now.
I'm sat in handcuffs and you're asking me what I know her. So you must have something to say that I know her.
Well, as I said, you've been arrested on suspicion of kidnap, and we believe that you've been involved in her disappearance and taking her away from her family.
Okay.
So we are trying to find her. Obviously, everybody is very worried about her. She's got, parents. She's got, she's siblings. She's got a boyfriend. There's a lot of people that care about her.
Sure.
You've seen her on the news. The number of people that are reaching out about her.
Sure.
Out there looking for her every day, and she's missing. And our job, our primary job here, is to find her and to try and find her safely well.
Okay.
Now, we believe that you know something about where she is, and that's why we're here to look for her and to try and find her. And that's why we're talking to you now, is to try and get you to have a good think about it and test anything you can about whether or not to find her.
Okay. Well, I am in financial, and I've been lent on by I don't know who they are. They're a group, a gang, whatever. And they told me, well, I need to go and pick up girls and give them to them. So I said, what's happening? And it then came through that they're going to harm my family, take them away, and they'll use them instead. At that point, I had no option to try and find somebody. So I don't. There's a couple of names. I was told a place to take her. That's it. That's all. That is all I know. And to this group of people.
Tell me about them. I need to find her. Tell me everything you know that I
Okay.
think that will help me.
There was a white Sprinter van. They are was between sort of Lenham, Maidstone area that I dropped her off. I still don't know. I don't know. They just I just parked my car up, and then the van come up behind me, flashed me. They all jumped out, and then they took this girl. They said you've done good, and I don't know whether my family's going to be alright still. But they threatened to take my family away from me. So at that point, I'm doing what I can to protect my family. That's it. So all I know is that it was a roundabout. We could drive there now. I could show you. Roughly, I don't know Lenham, Maidstone area at all.
If we did it on Google, if we did it on Google Maps, like Google Earth, if we drove it, would you
Right.
be able to do it?
I drove from Ashford to Maidstone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's a roundabout that breaks up, I guess. So this is the first big roundabout you come to. You would carry straight over to Maidstone, but instead I went round that roundabout and back up another road. And at that point, I was flashed and pulled over. Three guys got out, opened my door, opened that door, pushed me out against the front of the car, took the girl, drove off. That's it. They said, we'll be in touch. So I'm here. I'm off work with stress because I'm here to protect my family. I want to be here 24/7 for my family. They come from my family. I've got nothing myself. I've got no choice.
I'll go back through the route with you in a minute, all right? But how do they contact you? How do you contact them?
I tried to take over on one of their call girls and rip her off. So she's told them, and they've got me. So
how do they? No, but honestly, how do they contact you? How is it they've been in contact with you to make these threats? They
just tell me, be here, be here. So Hotel Burston down in Folkestone, got to be here. Okay, so I turned up. I've got no mobile number, and they have got my mobile number. They're obviously outside watching, following. I just honestly.
How are they telling you to be there? Be there? How is it they're giving those directions?
Yeah, they'll come outside. So they'll be outside here.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, right, you're going to be in Folkestone at this time, or you're going to be in Ashford at this time. That's it. There's no links, no telephone numbers. I'm completely on my own, but at the same time being threatened. It had Romanian plates on the van, white, like Mercedes Sprinter type van.
Yeah, so some Romanians just telling him to kidnap people. Yes, that happens every day of the week. So how do they contact you, Wayne? Not by phone anyway. Not by phone. They're outside watching. Oh, Pinocchio. What an absolute divvy. Anyway, he's arrested that night, thankfully. And you'll see the result at the end here now, but I can imagine you know what's going to happen. Be jailed. But it just goes to show like what people's mentality are out there. You could be safe out there, people. Look at me pulling this down. Oh. You got to be really safe out there, people. Obviously, this is a few years ago. Some of you might have heard it. Thanks for your patience watching this video. There's a little clip at the end of this showing a little bit about the protests that happened as well from this, and also the length of sentence he had. But you'd be glad to hear this is the last you could hear me speaking. So with that, watch the rest of it, but also subscribe, please, guys. See you in the next video. Cheers.
There are no words that can fully express the fury and overwhelming sadness that we all feel about what happened to Sarah. I am so sorry.
Sarah's death sparked nationwide protests and vigils. For his crimes, Wayne Couzens has been told he'll never be released from prison.